Yeah, we're building confidence with our customers, no question about it, but the industry is moving so fast. There's so much out there. We have to continue to deliver on schedule with a quality product, It's been fun to see the size of jobs increase, They're bigger projects now.
Something that separates us is Barrett and Blake's involvement in the company. So we're just now we're big enough to where we can have the right resources in place, but small enough to where Blake's still involved. Barrett's involved every day. If a customer has an issue, Blake wants them to call. And I think that separates us from a lot of, I would say corporate companies.
Welcome to the Studio 321 podcast, powered by Brightway, the Steve Trout agency. We're sitting down with real estate pros, insurance nerds, mortgage masterminds, and local legends who are making moves on the Space Coast. Hosted by the best insurance crew in the 321. At Studio 321, it's all about community, real connections, and sharing a few laughs along the way. Strap in, let's launch into today's episode. The Space Coast is in the middle of one of the biggest growth periods in its history, and behind every rocket launch, every new facility, every aerospace company setting up shop here, there's a team of people building the infrastructure that makes it all possible. That's exactly who we have in the studio today. Acadian Contractors is a third-generation family business with over 50 years of history, and they are all in on Brevard. Oh, and one of them is my big brother, Nate. Gentlemen, welcome to Studio 321. What's up?
Thanks, bro.
Yeah, man. Thanks for coming in, dude. I appreciate it. I'd like to give a little fist bump before we get started,
Let's do it.
What I wanted to do, I had a long intro prepared for each of you, put a lot of time into it. And then I'm sitting there reading, and I'm like, man, this thing's way too long.
Yeah.
I'm just going to have you guys go around, do it a little different this time. I'm going to have you guys go around, kind of introduce yourself, talk a little bit about, what brought you to Acadian and your history with the company and where you're at today. And I guess we'll start with you, Blake, since I know you got a lot to say on that topic. So,
Well, I'm Blake Broussard, president of Acadian. My story's a little different because it is my family's business. So I grew up in the business. When I was a young kid, I wanted to work with my dad. But went to LSU, graduated in business, and right out of LSU came into Acadian. At the time, we were a much smaller company than we are today. But Acadian's also connected to another business, actually called Broussard Brothers, is where my family got into business. Over 75 years ago, my grandfather and his two brothers bought an old wooden tugboat.
oh, wow.
And these guys, they were pioneers of their day. Didn't use a lot of words. They didn't talk a lot. They just had grit. They worked hard and delivered. Little did they know, that they would ignite a legacy that's here today. And it's so cool to see where we've come. But my grandfather, he was always really good at paying attention to what the customer needed. So Acadian comes around by another family business in 1973, and my grandfather bought Acadian in the early 80s because he had realized the customers that he had at the time, they needed fabrication done. So he picked up Acadian. At the time, there was probably 25 employees, very small shop, mainly fabrication. But we have taken that business over the last 30, 40 years and really grown it. So for myself, I was in sales for half of my career, sales and sales management. About 10 years ago, moved into operations as vice president. In the last 7 years, I've been sitting as president of Acadian.
That's awesome, man.
Yep.
Well, glad to have you here. We obviously got to have a lot of questions for you.
Yes.
But let's move on to Nuno here.
Yeah, so my name is Nuno Mana. I am the director for the East Coast, Acadian on the East Coast. I've been with Acadian for 6 years now. The time goes fast when you look back. But it's a funny story. I was very focused on my health at the time, going to the gym. And I met Blake. We were both going. Blake was my neighbor. We live in the same neighborhood. Our wives were, friends and having a relationship. And we just started talking about work. But to be honest, I never really understood exactly, what Acadian was. I never really, I felt like it was a small shop. At the end, to be honest, I never really understood the magnitude. And then, the stars align. And one day I make a phone call. I was not happy. I need, to find something else. And then I ask him, it's like, is that quality still open? You still need help? And he said, yeah, man, let's go. Bring it on. And that's how it started. I went for a quick interview with
we had interviewed each other for a year in the gym.
Yeah.
It's like, I just need you to go and talk with someone, So I got there, and then the full gang was there, So, but they treated me very right. They make sure I was, ready for the challenge. And then, I joined. I'm glad I did. It's been a long journey, and then bring me to Florida. So it's been a pretty cool story to tell.
So you guys still in the gym together?
I've been going to the gym.
Question.
No, running.
Great question.
That's a very topic.
I'm going to brag on Nuno a little bit, okay?
Right.
2 years ago, we were talking about running and exercise, and he had never been a runner, to my knowledge.
Yes.
And he signs up for the T-minus 10 miler here on the Space Coast. And that was his first and maybe only run that he's done. But he was successful at a 10-mile run across the Cape.
I was turning 50, so I was crazy enough to commit, and he was always on me like, hey, you need to do it. You need to do it. When are you going to do it? I was like, okay, let me do it then. And then it was too late to back up, so I did it.
He did it.
Yeah.
Check the box. Done. No more running, please. And then it was cool.
Oddly enough, I think the registration just opened for this year's run.
I'm not following that. I don't know what you're talking about.
And that probably lays some groundwork for some future questions on your guys' culture. But I love that you knew Nuno before you brought him in. And bringing in a friend from outside almost. And
one thing I was worried about was going to the company and working in. At the time, Blake was my direct supervisor. I felt like this will compromise our relationship and the way we are, and it didn't, it was cool to see Blake being the same person inside his world like he was outside, so that was pretty cool. That was one of the reasons that motivated me to be with Acadian for sure, man. That's pretty cool.
All right, next but not least, my big bro, Nathan Trout in the house.
Just for the record, I'm the middle bro. But I am Steven's
little or middle?
Middle.
Oh, okay.
I am Steven's middle brother, I guess, or the little bit older than him, but Nathan Trout. But I came on with Acadian. I was, going back a little bit, I was in the medical industry for 20 plus years and kind of floundering, I would say, needed more excitement. And my story is definitely different than their two, but I came across, before I even came across the job opening they had here, they were hiring a business development person. I came across Nuno's LinkedIn profile, and I started researching from there. I took pictures of it, screenshots, sent it to my brother. What good networkers do. Do you know this guy? No, but so-and-so knows this guy. Sent it to a friend of mine at the port. He was part of the Propeller Club, so I started harassing Nuno online a little bit. And now he tells me, I couldn't respond to you because it's not professional. But we went through the process, and God, what a blessing it's been to work with Nuno. He's been a great mentor to me, and this later on in my career. And Blake's been awesome, who I report into Blake now as a sales manager or business development manager. But what a blessing, man. It's been awesome. There's so much excitement in the area. And when I started at Acadian, we had 2 cars in the parking lot, Nuno and myself. And I literally, the first day, I put together my own furniture for my office. And so it was cool to be kind of on the forefront of that and to see us grow. And now I don't even have a parking spot. I can't park anywhere.
You're lucky if you get an office.
Yeah, lucky. I'm sharing an office now.
To be discussed.
But it's been a great experience. And I've been with the company just under 3.5 years now, but it's been awesome, man. It's just super energetic around there. And, of course, when I first started my career, I started working with my brother, Dave, my older brother. And it's really cool to be back in that atmosphere with Blake and his brothers. Yeah. And, it's really a family atmosphere. We tell each other we love each other. Yep. We hug each other when we see each other. So it's really cool to be around.
No, that's really cool, man, because you would think like some of those, the bigger companies that are doing work out at the Cape, you would just think it's so corporate, So it's super cool to see that you guys really do have like a special bond behind the scenes. And I know Nate's been thrilled working for you guys. He says nothing but the best things. And and as his little brother, I appreciate you guys taking care of him. So
take care of us as well. He take care of us as well.
No, he's. I would say this about my brother Nate, man. When he's passionate about something or when he's all in, He is all freaking in, dude. I mean, to the point where it probably drives you guys a little
I've
bit
witnessed
crazy.
that.
No,
I've witnessed that.
No, it's never too much text message. Never.
No, man, I think camaraderie is key.
Yeah.
You know, when the teams align, there's nothing we can't do. You know, when
Yeah.
you trust each other, you can move a lot faster.
Oh,
So we need to
absolutely.
be able to talk straight, you know, coach each other up, have post meetings, talk about how we did. You know, that's the secret sauce of Acadian.
Yeah, no, I love it. So you being Blake, you being a third generation owner, what kind of pressure comes with that? You know, now that you're the president taking over,
It's
you know what I mean? Like, did it come with pressure, or does it felt like more like a privilege? You know?
It came with a lot more pressure than I anticipated.
Yeah.
When I first got in the seat, I picked up reading books, a lot of books. I was up to about 50 leadership books a year.
Oh wow.
Because I knew I needed help. You know, we had such a great team that was working hard, but we had to build some processes amongst the team to get us moving. You know, I felt like on Monday everybody was rounded up together, all aligned. Then on Tuesday everybody went in different directions. And now today we're a much more focused organization.
Yeah, I love it.
Yep.
Yeah, and I do want to say with Blake too, his leadership style is pretty awesome because he does it by example. So he'll post books that he's reading.
Yep.
And we don't read. Like our mom never taught us how to read, but barely.
Yeah.
But Blake, is posting all the books he's reading online, posting how many runs he's doing, and it really kind of energizes you to say, man, maybe I need to go for a run. Maybe I need to read more books. So I think to attribute to him, he does it by example, not by words. I say.
Well, I remember when you finished that 10-miler. You got a little emotional. He had his wife and kids there, which was amazing to see that emotion. And later that night, we're sitting at his house, and we talked about that emotion that came across him, And I told him, I said, Nuno, that feeling that you had, you can't buy it, and nobody can give it to you.
Yep.
It's that sweat that you put in. You worked hard, and that feeling cannot be bought. I was so proud of him.
That's awesome.
Yeah, no, for sure. And then that inspiration, I think it's contagious. He helps us feel. And if you don't, you feel bad about it. So that's works both ways.
Good.
Yeah, I would imagine you guys being like the leaders of the company, that trickles down.
Absolutely.
It starts at the top, right?
Yep.
And
Yep.
I can see in your guys' passion and your love for one another that trickles down to the rest of the field, and it really does drive everybody else to be better.
Yes.
So that's awesome. So about 4 years ago, you guys made the decision to open up a facility here on the Space Coast. Kind of walk us through that. Like what attracted you to here, and why here? Why nowhere else?
We had taken a leap of faith. There's no question about it. But before that, we had been awarded a contract to build a big structure. There was a big EPC contractor that was awarded this structure, and they sourced us for fabrication. And, throughout that next year, we were learning more about the aerospace industry. We were learning more about their challenges, where they needed help. We were building relationships. So by the time we delivered that first project, we had a good feel for what was going to happen, over the next decade, specifically with this one customer. And we started communicating with that customer about what we could do for them here in Florida. And they had a need, so we took a trip. We looked at a lot of real estate options. At first, we struggled to find one, and then the facility that we found, we thought it was too big. We're like, it's probably not, it's probably too big for what we need, but we're gonna go ahead and buy it. And it did not take long to realize that it was way too small.
Yeah.
That's
a great problem to have, I would imagine.
And really, once we got here, I think confidence was building because traditionally oil and gas for 50 years, but the more we learned about the aerospace industry, the more we felt we could contribute on these launch pads because it was a lot of the same stuff that we do.
Yeah. Nate, how has that been, man? Basically starting with a company that had almost zero footprint here on the Space Coast, and then you being such a part of that growth, like kind of walk us through that and what were some of your big wins?
Yeah, I think, there's a lot of that to go around. Nuno, obviously opened the facility here along with Blake and the team. And I think the cool thing about it all is that they want to be involved in the community. They want to be here and stay. Nuno's pushed me from day one, get more involved in networking events. It doesn't matter if it's aerospace or not. Let's take care of the people around here. and hiring local people and not bringing them in. All that's been, just crazy to be a part of. And Nuno, to his leadership style, is like, let's do it the right way and not cut corners. Let's do it the way Acadian wants it done here locally. So I know, Blake is appreciative of him, of being that voice locally here. But, it's funny because we would get, a $10,000 coating job, and we would be like,
Yes.
this is the best thing. We
made it. We made it.
We'd go out and celebrate all night. And now,
we still are. We're very humble. We
Yeah.
still celebrate. Not as much as we used to, but we still celebrate. Come on.
But, we're definitely involved in multi-million-dollar projects now. And it's pretty neat to be a part of. And just the other cool part about being here and being local is the first thing that I did was just to connect to all the people that we know growing up.
Yeah.
So a lot of the people we met with originally, Nuno got tired of doing lunches for the first couple months because it was like every day we were meeting with a friend of ours that we grew up with, or a friend of ours' parents, or sister, or brother, or something at that point, just to connect the dots.
Yeah.
And then when that started rolling and those dots started connecting, and we started getting involved in some higher level people at the aerospace industry, it really kind of took off from there.
Yeah. Well, I'd imagine too. I mean, with some of this stuff, it's not what you know, it's who you know.
Yep.
You know, and Nate's probably one of the best connectors I know. You know what I mean?
Merritt Island.
You can't go anywhere with this cat around Brevard
He's a
County.
legend. He's a legend. Okay.
He's a little bit of a legend.
Yeah, that's right.
But no, you seriously can't go anywhere without my brother, without getting stopped,
Yep.
somebody wanting to say hello. And so, and we do, born and raised here, we have a lot of connections with people that, work out at the Space Center and involved in aerospace and stuff like that. So I'm sure it's been pretty cool. But I loved what you guys have done, really, man, is like, even with the event you're doing tomorrow with the crawfish boil,
Yep.
where you're bringing the community together,
Yep.
you're getting all your centers of influence together to really just have a good time, share your Louisiana roots.
Yes.
Like all that is like it's a way outside looking in, it's just all part of a big picture that you guys are painting.
Yeah.
Right? And it gets the community involved, it gets your vendors involved, it gets everybody that you guys want to be around doing business with too involved, right? And they get to see who you really are. And I've just thought that was cool because I remember the very first one I got there and I was like, what does any of this have to do with aerospace? You know what I mean? I was looking at it super narrow-minded, but man, I mean, it's just, being in business, it's this the number one way to really connect with people, right?
Yeah.
Is bring them together, eat with them, fill their bellies up, and share your culture.
Absolutely.
You know?
I'm a firm believer that people do business with people they like, and people they trust, and we want to build a trusting relationship with them.
Yeah.
But you got to get to know them.
Yeah.
It's not all business.
Yeah. So that crawfish boil, man. So we got some special going on tomorrow. We bringing in the guys from Louisiana.
I'll let you take that one.
Yeah.
Yeah, no. So I don't want to spoil, the party, but we got something planned for sure. We're gonna have the local cuisine. It's not coming straight from Louisiana, but it's still based and very influenceable by Louisiana people.
Okay.
We're gonna have a live band for the first time. We're gonna test it. I think we were missing some excitement at the party, so we're gonna test a live band that we are excited about, and of course, drinks and entertainment. A little, opening. Cool. We're doing also a grand opening, so we, showcasing our new facility. So we're
Just
gonna take
hire
some
my
time.
brother for entertainment.
Yeah.
Yes, he's been doing awesome.
Yes.
Yeah, but it'll be a big party. We are excited to host it. It's a big appreciation. Like you said, we don't need to do it to do business, but there's something we want to show and be appreciative of our customers. There's a lot of trust, and we want to recognize that on us.
So for people listening that don't know what Acadian does, like kind of walk us through, like what does Acadian do day to day? Like what are some of your bigger projects? You don't have to get into specifics on it, but what are some of the bigger projects you guys are working on? And how can other people in the aerospace industry kind of, find you, I guess, with that?
Here on the East Coast, there's a lot of launch pads being built. And that infrastructure piece is where we come in. A lot of heavy steel fabrication, a lot of their big components they need built. And there's a lot more pads than people realize that are going up right now. We've seen it increase over the last 4 or 5 years. Here in Florida, we've seen some stuff in Texas. We've worked in delivered product to California. So there's a lot of different structures they need built, mainly around carbon steel. There's a lot of stainless. We also do a lot of construction work here. So we don't only fabricate it either in Louisiana or here at our East Coast office, but we also follow it through for installation.
Yeah. So when you guys are seeing rockets go up and stuff, does it feel you take a lot of pride in that, where you're like, man, we were a part of that?
Not just us at this table. I can tell you, even the guys back home in Louisiana,
Yeah,
this
that's awesome.
industry has really delivered new energy into our business. You know, our team, our craftsmen, they are proud, you know, to play their part.
Yeah,
and they should
pretty
be.
cool.
You know, it's a big deal. You know, it's
Yeah.
a big commitment for a big team to support it and make it, you know, coming alive and being installed and working. It's pretty cool. You know, we watch it. Sometimes we need to pinch ourselves because we forget about how cool it is.
Yeah.
You know, it's amazing. It's been.
Yeah, it's definitely been part of the team culture, I would say. At some big launches, even if they're
Yep.
in the middle of the evening on the beach at 2 a.m., 3 a.m. one time, it's part of what we do. We take a lot of pride in that and being a little bit, you know, a small part of it, but we definitely got together as a team and seen some of the big launches together.
Yeah, that's awesome.
And we want our customers to be successful.
Yeah.
You know, we're part of the journey. When we do something for them, we want them to succeed so they can keep growing and doing more. So we can keep supporting them.
Their
you know,
success is your success.
Yeah,
absolutely. So we, like Nathan was saying, we want to cheer for them. You know, we want to make sure that they do well. So we are also do well.
No, absolutely.
We committed.
And also, though, it's which I think's neat, and us growing up here, I mean, these are people that live next door to us, and
Yeah.
you know,
Yep.
a lot of them have grown Vieira. You look at Vieira now; that's all. You know, most of it's aerospace people, and,
Yeah.
and Merritt Island's growth, and Titusville's growth, and Coca's growth. Everything around is aerospace engineers. You know, all the big
Yeah.
players are bringing people in from all over the world
Yeah.
to work right here and at the Space Coast.
No, I mean, and in my industry evolves around the real estate business.
Yep.
You know,
You've seen
our
it, I'm
number
sure.
one product is doing homeowners insurance in this area, and so, you know, I'm thrilled to have companies like you guys coming in, you know, helping our you know, our environment here, and you know, getting our economy kind of booming again.
Yeah.
You know, the Space Center for years. You know, growing up here, we had the shuttle program forever, and then you had that. You know, when the shuttle ended, we really had kind of a super lull here in our economy, you know, really uncertainty on the future of space and all that. And then you guys, you know, you had people like SpaceX and Blue Origin and some of those really putting some really investment into the private sector, you know. And it's been fun to watch. Like from my seat, it's been super fun to watch with how the Space Coast has grown. And it's energized everybody.
Yeah.
I mean, I hadn't really seen our community come together quite like, you know, with Artemis 2 and all that.
Yeah.
I mean, what a cool thing for everybody here. I mean, it was really neat to see everybody pulled over on the side of the road, standing on top of their trucks. Like, it was old space.
Yeah.
It was like the old days, you know, when everybody, you know, was super invested in the space program. And I think that's happening again. It's just such a big part of our economy here. It supports everything really on the Space Coast. I mean, that's why we're called the damn Space Coast, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
That's where the name come from.
Well, it is, you know, kind of what you're saying, to reiterate that. Like, when we grew up,
I mean, that's why we're called Studio 321.
Yeah, that's right. I love it. Love it.
the launches when we grew up, there would be, you know, a couple 100,000 people came into town. They're
Yeah.
all over the roads.
Yeah.
And I think people take it for granted, but you see the legacy launches like the Artemis going up and it's
Yeah.
back. It's like,
Yeah.
wow. You know, that's kind of the next level from
Yeah.
the normal, I would say. It's almost become redundant. Like
Yeah.
every day, you know, there's people.
Yeah, I
setting
mean,
up
I'm
launches,
guilty of
but-
not even getting off my couch anymore
Yeah.
because there's a rocket launch going up every 2 days, it seems like.
Oh, yep.
You know?
It's picking up too.
Oh, yeah. Which is, again, great for you guys. You know, the guys that are building the infrastructure and are on the ground floor of all that
Yes.
stuff happening. I mean, it's huge. And, yeah, I mean, obviously 4 years ago, it was probably felt like you were rolling the dice a little bit. But I would imagine now you're like, man, thank God we did
Yeah,
that.
I think we felt the excitement, you know. and,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Of course, Blake played a big role on this, you know.
Yeah.
When we saw the opportunity, we felt like, you know, we don't want to come here and execute the job and then leave. You know, let's use this big opportunity to establish, you know, to commit to the area to develop Acadian in Florida. And I think that's what really made the difference. You know, we're not here like some companies are, just send some guys to the job and leave. You know, we hire local. We have, you know, our own representation. So I think that what's make a big difference.
Yeah.
It's wild too, because I can remember the first time we walked on a launch pad, and I had to pinch myself that we were there, you know, to do business. Today, we were on multiple pads, same feeling. You know, we're just blessed. Yeah. We're grateful to play our part.
Yeah. And I gotta be honest. To me, I think it would be super damn cool to have a company like you guys have, and to be, I'm sure you don't actually see a physical check, but to see a line item or a deposit that might say, your Blue Origins, and you know, and it's just like, I mean, that's freaking so cool, right? Yeah. I mean, that's got to be almost like a full circle moment for you, you know, where you launched this thing on the Space Coast and now it's happening and you're rolling, and it's got to be a pretty cool feeling.
Well, and you see the runway of it, you know. It's, there's a space race going on.
Oh, yeah.
And the next decade, it's not stopping. You
know? So, Nate, I know you were in medical sales, and you were our brother's salesperson at his manufacturing plant. What has been different about the business development for Acadian? Like, what is your focus? Like, what are you doing differently now than in your past roles? Like,
I don't think the sales cycle is different. In business development, you know, it's building relationships, networking, doing all the right things, trying to get the right people in the room. I think the most difficult hurdle I've had over the last couple of years is I'm not an expert. You know, Blake and Nuno have been in the fabrication world for 30 years. I've been in it for 3. Mm-hmm. You know, I started out from scratch. I knew manufacturing and you know logistics of it all, but trying to learn all the technical aspect and sitting there and learning, which Nuno pushed me very hard to learn and you know, continue that, because he knew I was good at the business and sales side. Yeah. He knew I could bring in business. He knew I could bring in, you know, more people to touch around here. But you know, it's being confident in a meeting, you know, to do things the right way and the way that Acadian wants it done. So I think
the talk.
Yep. So I think that's been a learning curve for me, especially later on in my career, I would say. But gosh, man, how exciting! You know, this is the 3rd industry I've been in. I went from plastics, you know, to medical, and now, you know, in fabrication. So I'm pretty well rounded now, I would say, after all these years. And it's funny, you look back, well, you know this, like when you first started in the industry, you're like, gosh, I'm just a new guy. Now you're like, God, I'm the older guy. Younger people are coming and asking me questions. I'm like, this is crazy about, you know, business development side. But one cool thing about it is Rob, who was David's first employee in 1998. And I started with David, our older brother, in 2002. He's now working at Acadian. And he came to me and said, Nate, I got 10 years to retire. Like, you think we can make it? I'm like, I think we're going to make it in 10 years. So he's like, this is awesome. You know, Rob's even like, this is unreal.
And it's awesome, and he never stops working.
I saw his excitement a couple hours ago. Man. Great guy.
There's not a lot of like him, for sure. There's not a lot of people like him. He never stops, man. He's amazing.
But the cool thing with Rob is he knew me when I was 19, 18. You know, when he first started with our brother. Now, 30 years later, it's like full circle, you know, from that aspect. But
yeah, it's super cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was always Dave's best employee. I mean, he was a grinder for sure.
Never stops working.
Never stops, man. Yeah. Shout out to Rob.
Yeah, that's right.
Love you, Rob.
Yeah.
So have you found in the business development, is it starting to get easier now that you guys are rolling? I would imagine in the very beginning it was almost hard to get meetings, and now it's like, now that you've kind of planted a foundation, I would imagine it starts to grow its own legs at some point, and it's like it's now easier to knock down some of those barriers, right? Because now you have a track record.
Yeah.
You're doing more work, and it's like you almost have the resume now.
Yeah.
You know, or when you guys were first coming in, let's talk about that. I mean, when you're first coming into this with you have a resume of fabrication, obviously, from the past, but to break into almost a new section of your industry, right? That's had to have been pretty challenging. I just trying to walk us through that, like from there to like how you're getting the jobs today and how that has kind of developed, you know?
Yeah, I could do that. I don't have a problem with that. So I think it's actually harder today than it was when I first started because the goals are higher. So higher level projects, more competitions, and
no more beers after 10K.
Yeah.
That's right. That's right.
So I know Nuno will have some input on this as well. But I feel like it's tighter now. It's harder. We got to do a better job of communicating, a better job of building relationships and building trust with the clients. Which is, when I moved to Blake's team, what has been a big emphasis of the company of just building stronger relationships, because the tighter it gets and the higher level it gets and the more, I would just say, money that are, projects are up for, the competition gets tighter, as you know. It's kind of like any sport. The higher level you go, the competition gets better and better.
Yeah, playing in the big leagues.
I think it's kind of the opposite, but I think it's locked us in even more to do things the right way, to build that trust, and honestly just say what we're going to do.
Yep.
I know that's big with the Broussard family and Nuno as well, and the team here. It's big. Just do what you're going to say.
Yep.
You say you're going to email them. You
That's
say
right.
you owe them something, get it to them. So I know Nuno has a lot of input.
Yeah, no,
as well.
I think you're right when you say it's different. I don't know if it's harder. I think it was pretty hard in the beginning. When we started, the brand was not recognized. Acadian was a brand. Yeah. If you go to Louisiana, anybody knows about Acadian. On the oil and gas industry, everybody's familiar with Acadian. Here it was not the case. So there was a lot of branding that we are still doing that needs to be done. I think you clearly help us a lot, Nathan. I know you probably be very humble, but there's a lot of work that needs to be done. There's a lot of relationships that need to be built and frustrations to be managed, because most of the guys don't even answer to the emails or the text message. So it's not an easy thing to do.
Yeah.
I think now we are on a different level though, Originally we were promising probably, and trying to build that trust without having that past performance. Now we are tied to something that they know we can deliver, and they expect us to deliver and keep delivering the same level of quality and on schedule. That's challenging, especially when you want to do it consistently all the time. It's not for everybody. It puts a lot of stress on all of us, but that's how you grow. That's how you get to the next level, like now we are seeing. So that was the journey that took us there. Very hard work, I can tell you. Yeah.
And talk about our brand. We are Acadian, not Arcadian.
Yeah.
That's been a trouble.
Yeah, we're building confidence with our customers, no question about it. But the industry is moving so fast. There's so much out there, and we have to continue to deliver on schedule with a quality product. And it's been fun to see the size of jobs increase. They're bigger projects now. But it's been good. I think we're right where we need to be. We're positioned perfectly for this time.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
Yeah, and I think too that something that separates us is Barrett and Blake's involvement in the company. So we're just now we're big enough to where we can have the right resources in place, but small enough to where Blake's still involved, Barrett's involved every day. If a customer has an issue, Blake wants them to call.
Yeah.
And I think that separates us from a lot of, I would say corporate companies.
Yeah. Well, I would imagine too, like when it gets down to getting the job and fighting for the job. I mean, I know you're my brother, and I'm going to say good things, but you guys ain't got a better person in your corner. I mean,
I couldn't agree
this
more.
kid is. Well, I mean, talk about competitive.
Yes.
I mean, we've had a couple knockout, drag-out fights between us.
Stop texting at 10 p.m.
I mean, he never stops. He's always, like I said earlier in the episode, man, when he's all in, he's all in.
He's all in, his preparation is amazing too. He has that ability to round the team up and make sure that before we go into that meeting that everybody is up to date on everything that was said or heard and our intent for the meeting. It's been incredible to see him.
Yeah, it's kind of a funny story too, because Nuno and I joke about it all the time. Because we pushed each other, I would say, pretty hard for the last couple of years. At times, it's like, and Nuno's become family to me. Almost an older brother, a mentor, and he really has pushed me to be better in everything I do. But he also kind of opened a beast up, because how competitive I am and how well we want to do. And now he's to the point where like, Nate, relax, man. You don't have to send a text out at 10 p.m. I'm like, bro, I'm working. So that's been a lot of fun, though, to be a part of. It really has. And again, it goes back to that relationship and just kind of attacking the business and locking in. And relationships are important internal as well, as
Absolutely.
they are external, too.
Where does like you playing college sports and stuff? Do you think some of that like competitive edge you carry over to your business?
Oh, there's no doubt. And anyone that knows me well enough in my life knows when I'm into something, I'm all in.
Yeah.
And I don't have a filter. I'm a filter from how hard I'm going to work to get it and all that. And that's actually kind of been an issue in the past at times, because when I'm coaching, it's like I'm all in.
Yeah.
And I'm going to do everything I can. And sometimes I put other things to the side, which probably aren't healthy. Sometimes my health, but the other side of it too, it's a great quality, I think, of myself, of just pushing myself to be better and, being that. But you're the same way.
Yeah.
Dave's the same way.
Yeah.
Look at Dave,
runs
both
in the
my
family.
brothers are very successful. They're
Yeah.
local. They've done it right here in town. And, I'm super proud of both of them, but we're all built from the same cloth.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yep.
I don't know if it's from my mom or dad. My mom will say her, my dad will say him. But
No doubt.
it's really just kind of, digging deep and,
Yeah.
trying to do what you can.
I think for all of us, man, failure's just never been an option.
No, that's right.
It's like when we focus, we do it. If I got to be here till midnight, I got to be here till midnight. It just is what it is, right? Like we're gonna get it done, and so I'm sure it's the same way.
But it's the same thing. You got, Blake and Barrett and Chip and their sister. Like, they're the same way.
Yeah.
Yep.
This isn't, it's their dad built them the same way, which
Yeah.
came from the grandfather.
Yeah.
And, that's what's cool with the company is just that, being around. It's almost like being around you and Dave as a kid again. It's like, busting on each other, pushing each other. And, in the end, you go and have dinner and tell each other you love each other, and then, get up the same day, argue all day.
Yeah.
So, the same thing at night. So it's pretty fun to be a part of. And that's not just, in Louisiana. That's our culture here.
That's
in the
right.
office here, too, with Nuno, myself, and the team.
Yeah.
But it's pretty neat to be a part of.
So any stories where Nate's like oversold something, and you guys are like, dude, you got to reel it in, bro. I don't know if we can do that.
How much time do
Yeah,
you have?
that's right.
How much time you have?
I could see that. I could see it being like him pressuring, going, no, dude, we can get this done. Let's do it. Let's do it.
Hey, that's operations problem.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's
exactly.
right.
Just drop the bomb on us.
It takes a lot of work to win,
yeah.
and the team has to be aligned, and
Absolutely.
Nathan has pushed internally as hard as externally to win, and that's really what makes us, keep pushing.
I love the way you just said that. The goal is to win.
Yeah, that's it.
You know?
We got to win.
Yeah. I love it.
Life's short. We don't have time on our hands.
It's never enough.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's right.
When I started, when I was interviewing, I was the first all-time leading scorer at Syracuse University
Yeah.
History, and they always say that's why they hired me.
That is why we hired
And then, a couple months later, I was second. They're like,
Yeah. It's like
it's terrible. We can't even talk about it anymore.
Wrong decision.
he's backing up. He's backing up.
You lie on the resume.
Yeah.
How do you guys see the aerospace boom affecting the broader Space Coast, like from your point of view? Like since you guys have gotten here, how have you seen it?
I mean, just today we were on the Cape and seeing all the activity of all the pads going up. It's, I think it's still in its infancy stage. We haven't seen where it's going to peak out. It probably will be a decade or two. I don't know that it ever will peak out. Apparently, there's a lot of satellites to get up there because there's a lot of pads being built. Sky's the limit, though.
Yeah, I think it put some pressure on the infrastructures. This is an area that will need some development. I think the aerospace is really growing too fast, and the area by itself needs to support it. So there's a lot of things that needs to happen as well. I know, like I said, we about to celebrate a new facility, but it took us almost 2 years to find a facility, already built. So that's a stress for a company that wants to grow fast and had these opportunities, and we don't have the infrastructure built to support that growth. So I think as an area, I think that's the challenge that we all need to look into it, and it's the roads, it's the buildings, it's the apartments, the houses, everything needs to join that effort. So when that peak happens, everybody, is still functional and supporting that industry. So I think that's the challenge for the community and for Brevard County for sure.
Yeah. So the new facility was 45,000 square feet?
Yes. It sits on 8 acres. So, coming from our current facility, which was
1.3.
1.3 acres, about 11,000 square foot. So it's a pretty big step for us. And I think, My dream is the next facility is too small, but at 45,000 square foot with 8 acres, I think it gives us a lot of room to expand.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So with those 8 acres, does the acreage has the ability to build other buildings on it? Okay,
Yes.
perfect. That's awesome. Yeah,
And that's included. I don't know if we discussed this earlier, but we got a 125-acre facility in Louisiana. With some of where we build a lot of the larger infrastructure there that maybe we can't do here.
Got you. So you guys are building some stuff there, and
Yes.
then bringing it here.
Yep, either trucking it or barging it.
Okay.
Depending on the size of the project.
Gotcha. That's right. You're right there on the coast
Yep.
of Louisiana, so you barge
Yeah, we
around
do
the
have
state.
water access, so that plays a big
yeah.
role, makes us in a favorable position.
Yeah.
Yeah, very cool. What else? Anything you guys want to talk about? Anything you guys want to touch on? Let the people know.
I would just
Brag
say
on yourselves a little bit.
No, this community since day one has been extremely welcoming. I mean, from day one when we moved here, we were able to meet a lot of people really quickly. Everybody was welcoming. I can see the excitement around tomorrow night's grand opening and our crawfish ball. They're excited to come and support, which is amazing.
Yeah.
For this area.
No, I love it. When are you moving here?
I love it here. I can tell you that. Yeah, I love Cocoa Beach. I love all the little surrounding towns. It's been great.
I always say, man, this is I think the Space Coast is the best kept secret in Florida.
Yeah. Yep.
You got, and price wise too. I mean, South Florida is
I agree.
super crazy prices, and has always been popular. And then you got North Florida, Jacksonville area. And we've kind of been in that middle on the coast and almost had been forgotten about,
And you have Orlando 45, 50 minutes away, so close.
And now we're the number one cruise port.
Yep.
Sure.
That's right, in the country.
I think in the country, right?
Yep.
And with the Space Center industry going on, I mean, it's just really cool to see, and I'm just glad to be part of it.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, it's funny. All this stuff's going on, and you see complaints online about the infrastructure coming in and the roads always, right? So 528's always backed up. And you remember as a kid, there's a toll booth there. Can you imagine if there's a toll booth still?
No.
But one of the things I try to just from
I think it was like a nickel.
We
used to blow by it every time.
Yeah.
It was the one you threw in there. Like I don't even know if you could get caught. They didn't have cameras.
Nickel don't go far today.
But it's funny because you see people moving in here from Louisiana from our company like Nuno, and I got to correct him all the time. He used to call Courtney was Florida 3.
Yes.
Florida 3. And I'm like, no, that's Courtney. You can't, if you're going to be a local, you can't say Florida 3. It's Courtney. So it's been a struggle to teach them the the local phrases and what you call it, because I don't even know if 528 used to be the Beeline, so that was like the big name back then, but with the toll booth. But I can't imagine with everything going on here, if they still had that. I always think about that with that toll booth. If they still had it, the line would be backed
That'll be
up
funny.
all the way to Cocoa Beach, Orlando, who knows? But
yeah, I mean, even in our hometown, Merritt Island, dude, like you can't. The traffic is crazy. They're gonna have to figure out something.
It's going to get worse.
It's just gonna keep getting worse
before it gets better.
Yeah.
Sure.
So what's next for Acadian, man? So give us the vision as the president of the company. What do you think the next 10 years look like? If you could, so you're sitting here in 10 years, what do you think you're going to be saying?
Looking back the last 5 years, we've experienced a lot of growth. It's above industry standard of growth. We're in the people business.
Yep.
Without our people, we can't do anything. Tomorrow night, we're going to have our grand opening, which is amazing. But at the end of the day, it's just a facility. It's the people that'll bring it to life, So without that, we're going nowhere. We're excited about that. We're excited about the growth in the aerospace industry in general. Mm-hmm. It plays a big role in our revenue today, where 5 years ago it really didn't. So we're going to follow that. We have a couple of different industries that we do focus into, but I'm extremely excited about aerospace.
Yeah, it's awesome. Very cool. Well, I really appreciate you guys taking the time to come in the studio. One last thing, just because it's my brother.
Yes.
Be careful.
Get him.
Be careful with you.
Yes. Yeah.
We're gonna be
Take
honest.
the gloves off.
I'm ready to be honest.
Yes.
oh gosh.
Dude, I mean, I just sit here and he's got to drive you guys freaking crazy sometimes.
Yes.
All day, every day. Okay.
All the time.
No, serious question though. So I get asked all the time what my brother does for a living.
Yeah.
Still a mystery.
We don't
to me.
know.
And I got to be honest, man, I never know how to freaking answer it. I'm like, he works for like a metal fabricator now.
Yeah.
You know, he does sales for them. Yeah, at the
I never
Space Center.
see him doing anything, so I cannot answer that.
And so I guess that's a decent answer.
Yeah.
But like, what is the best answer for little brother to say when he gets asked what Nate does for a living?
I think he builds relationships, and he does a great job.
He
doing
makes
it.
friends.
There you
He does
go.
a great
That's
job
right.
doing that.
Yeah.
Makes friends in the aerospace. That's what I'm going to start saying.
Absolutely.
It's funny.
No work though, just friends, no work.
We have a guy we work with, Ross, and we were out one night. He was telling us, he brought up a good point, and it wasn't me he was talking about, but someone said there was a business development guy in the room, and the customer goes, "What is your job? What are you doing here?" He goes, "I'm paid to be your friend."
That's a cool one.
That's true.
So it always stuck with me. I'm like, I'm paid to be your friend,
That's awesome.
and I'm good at it.
Yeah.
You're very good.
But I do want to say too, just to shout out to our older brother Dave. I made it on the podcast before him, so
Nice.
Yeah. I don't
Where's
wanna hear it
Dave?
anymore.
Where's he at?
Dude, it's been funny, man. My brothers, they've been like begging me to get on this dang podcast. I'm like, guys, it's not that cool.
Yeah.
You know?
Apparently it is.
Hey, we made it. Let's go.
Yeah, that's right.
That's awesome. Well, hey, I appreciate you guys taking the time. I know you're super busy. You got a lot going on. I know you got a big event coming up here, so I appreciate you coming in and seeing me
Yep.
and shooting the crap. So we appreciate it. Really rooting for you guys. Hope nothing but the best for you. So
Thank you.
Appreciate the support.
yeah, man. So looking forward to watching you guys crush it.
Yes.
So, awesome.
Thank you.
Thank you, man.
That's a wrap for this episode of the Studio 321 podcast, powered by Brightway, the Steve Trout Agency. We can't thank you enough for being part of our journey. If you enjoyed this episode, be sure to subscribe, leave us a review, and share it with a friend. Until next time, 3, 2, 1, we're out.